Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, and The Sims rumor mill just keeps turning, and these latest ones that I've seen just sound like dystopian. It just sounds like The Sims is headed to a dystopian future, and oh boy, yeah, let's just get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is this tweet from Lunar Brittany. If you think this is too much DLC, if EA's buyout goes through in summer 2026, prepare for worse. So yeah, that's just a picture of the style of what the main menu used to be at one point, where it showed all the DLC that you owned. But there were surveys months ago about a digital currency coming into The Sims called Muka. The icon is apparently a cow plant to symbolize how when Sims get eaten by the cow plant and get turned into the essence of life, milk. So yeah, definitely some interesting sense of humor going on there. But this sounds like the sort of thing I've been fearing ever since the Sims 4 base game went free to play years ago. When everyone else was celebrating, I was like, oh no. When are they gonna have battle passes then? I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. I mean, the events they've been doing are getting close to that territory. It's just that they're free and not paid. There's no paid tier, but I would not be surprised if that does still end up happening at some point. But to have a digital currency, yeah, Muka, it sounds like a cute sort of way to say, yeah, this is premium currency, to have even more random cosmetics and stuff behind a paywall and charge ridiculous amounts of money for meager amounts of that currency. Welcome back, The Sims 3 store. You were not missed. It is funny how I've seen people try to defend kits by saying, well, it's not as bad as The Sims 3 store, so they're okay. Well, I guess we're about to have both. It is worth mentioning though, this might not be for The Sims 4. It could be for Project X, or it could be for Project Renee, or maybe it could even be a currency amongst all three. So that is something we'll have to wait and see on. Another thing that may happen in the near future is a subscription model for The Sims 4. I'll leave a link to the Sims community article in the video description below. There was a reader, Simbas Online, who found that on the EA website, there is some code related to a membership for a Sims 4 subscription. So here you can see text relating to canceling your membership for the Sims 4 Collector's Pass. And there's a message saying before you go, how about taking your membership for a last spin with one of these packs? There's also this message for canceling the membership saying your Sims 4 subscription is now canceled, but you'll have full access to your games until your billing period ends on that end date. Keep an eye out for a confirmation email. If you change your mind, rejoining is super easy and all of your games and play progression will be right here waiting for you. Adding on to this, they seemingly were going to do a subscription model back in 2014 when The Sims 4 first came out. If I remember correctly, these images were seen as part of the very first Sims 4 gameplay livestream that they did before the base game release, but they didn't really talk about it. It was just a little thing that was spotted if you just happened to catch it. I don't like the idea of The Sims 4 getting a subscription model because then that incentivizes EA to make Maxis force out even more rush DLCs to justify the existence of a subscription pass, because then I'm assuming it would be a monthly cost. So then if they don't put out DLC every month, then they might lose subscribers, because then those people will be like, okay, well, whatever, I'll just wait for these DLCs to come out and just pay for them the old-fashioned way instead of a subscription model. Also, the idea of getting hooked onto a subscription model for DLC so that you have to keep paying every month in order to keep access to them, otherwise you lose them, is just, I don't like it. That sounds really bad. But here's another thing, right? why do this when allegedly Royalty and Legacy is the last expansion pack and there's apparently nothing but kits from here on out? So then, especially for players who already have at least most of the DLCs, then there isn't really a whole lot of value, just like these little kits that have a niche appeal. As much as some people love kits, they really only go so far. They can't really replace the likes of stuff packs, game packs, and expansion packs that also provide new gameplay mechanics and worlds and other just like miscellaneous gameplay bits that we don't really get in kits. So maybe this is also where the idea of a battle pass comes in, where if you are a subscriber, then you also get access to the premium rewards of future events that they'll probably do. I imagine this subscription model would also apply to Project X, so that you would also get access to whatever DLCs they plan on doing for that game. There's also another link I'm going to leave to a Sims community article in the video description below about some more stuff that's come out from previous EA employee Gloaming the Plane. Sorry, I kept saying as Gloaming the Pain before. I don't know why I kept reading it like that, but my goodness, yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse. To summarize, Adventure Awaits originally was going to be the final expansion pack, but they wanted to test this new framework, a new way of developing expansion packs. That's funny because Adventure Awaits did feel kind of final to me, though I thought it was just the Calvin and Hobbes fan in myself that was thinking that, with the very last line in the series being, "Let's go exploring." It felt like the Adventure Awaits title tied into that, as well as kids being a big focus of this expansion, as well as imaginary friends being one of the new features. But Royalty was a popular idea based on a previous survey, and they wanted to test this framework where they make the budgets for The Sims as minimal as possible to maximize profit, to go into other projects so they can be less risk adverse, so that EA can grow other franchises. And free play may actually end up being discontinued if its graphics updates don't push the player count. I never would have thought that Sims free play was gonna last this long. I'm kind of shocked. I mean, I guess part of it is just because mobile didn't really take off the way that EA would have expected it to, but I thought they would have wanted to replace the Sims free play even sooner than when they made Sims Mobile. Speaking of mobile games, Gloaming the Plane did say that with Project Renee, it is now a mobile exclusive game because now that cross-platform functionality they originally advertised, they don't really see a purpose for it now that Project X is a thing. Also, I was curious about the My Sims Cozy Bundle sales, and Gloaming the Plane does briefly mention that, saying it did sell very well on the Nintendo Switch, but not so much on the other platforms. Not surprising to me. I'm glad that it did have success on the Switch, but not surprising it didn't do as well on the other platforms. I mean, My Sims originally was on the Wii, and also it was on the Switch for a while before the other platforms, so I think most of the people who would have been interested in buying a My Sims remaster would have already gotten it on the Nintendo Switch. Back to The Sims 4, we got an interesting contrast between Adventure Awaits and Royalty and Legacy. Adventure Awaits was the most expensive Sims expansion pack to make, while Royalty and Legacy was the cheapest Sims 4 expansion pack to make. They weren't sure if it's the cheapest one they've ever made across the entire franchise, but I highly doubt it when Live in Large for The Sims 1 is right there. But I'm again not surprised with Royalty and Legacy because from what I've seen, there are so many reused assets. Not a new concept by any means, but the amount this time, not surprising that it was the cheapest Sims 4 expansion pack to make. So definitely backs up those rumors. But from here on out, they are apparently restructuring The Sims to heavily involve EA more in the day-to-day operations. when it comes to how content is created, distributed, and monetized, and being more involved in the creative process too. Plans include, hey, subscription models, digital storefronts with paid and virtual reward currency, deeper engagement events, and more. None of this sounds good. To have the higher-ups creatively chokehold Maxis like that, none of that sounds good. Like, just to have Maxis get even less creative freedom than they probably have already had reduced in recent years. Yikes, that is really bad. The rumor of pets being in the base game for Project X has been brought up before, but the mentality behind that is to have more monetization for pets related DLC. So instead of having your conventional pets expansion pack, then you could actually just have pets as content in the base game, but then have many DLCs related to pets. Modders and custom content creators also appear to be part of EA's game plan to minimize costs further. Beyond the creator kits that they've already been doing, there's supposed to be unofficial creator DLCs that will incorporate popular mods so that there is responsibility on the creator as well as Maxis to have ongoing compatibility with their updates, so that it also manages the issues of people reporting bugs, but then actually it turns out to be a mod that caused that bug in the first place. Many years ago, this might have actually been a pretty cool thing for The Sims to do. But now, with the context of everything surrounding the EA buyout and them trying to minimize costs as much as possible, and to try and tackle that debt, that massive debt they're taking on, this is not good. Now that Royalty and Legacy is out, I hope in the coming weeks we'll see even more creators stepping down from the EA Creator Network. I do not believe that the whole idea of being a voice from within is going to work. I don't think this is one of those cases where that will succeed. I mean, the buyout is going to go through no matter what, especially under the Trump administration. But I think it still would send a much stronger message for every single Sims creator to leave the EA Creator Network. Ideally, every creator across all of EA's franchises. There'd be so much less publicity for their new releases because there wouldn't be all that early access content coming out. And within the context of everything we talked about in this video, EA would not be able to do that push to offload so much of their work to creators. At least not nearly as easily, because I guess theoretically, yeah, sure, they could reach out to people just randomly, and they just would not have the easy luxury of working with people who have already signed a non-disclosure agreement to join their program. But still, I think everyone leaving the EA Creator Network would do more than everyone staying in it. Even if the buyout was not happening, I would love for The Sims to be sold off to a better company, but I think the only way this would happen is if The Sims had drastically less sales and then was seen as lesser value to the newer owners. So in order to make some quick money, they would sell the Sims franchise off to someone else. I guess now to wrap things up, I don't know, it's just the same sort of sentiment that I've said many times at this point. The Sims has been near and dear to my heart for so many years, and it sucks that it's getting so much worse and is about to nosedive into something even worse. It's going to be weird to transition into being a content creator who does not cover The Sims anymore once the EA buyout is done, but that just feels like the right thing to do in my opinion.